Hello and welcome to another episode of Code with Toyo. This is part 11 of our R Simplified series, and in this video, we are going to be talking about list. A list is one of the data structures in R and a bit more advanced compared to vectors. If you have not seen our video on vectors, it's in part 10. You can go to YouTube, search for Butterverse, check our videos. You can like, comment, and you can turn up the notification symbol so that whenever we release a new video, you will be the first to know. So let's comment this video. List, unlike vectors, like we said, it can hold different data type in one structure. That makes it stronger and more useful. Let's assume you want to hold a series and not a frame now, a series or a collection of a particular individual. You want to store their name, their email address, their GPA, their salary, just for a single observation. You just want to hold a collection of variables. So let's quickly call it details. We want to hold a details, then we pass it as a list. So by passing the keyword or the function list, it knows that everything coming inside of it will be in that collection. So just look at it as if you want to go to the market to get something and you're making a list for it. Let's say Tony, and Tony is maybe 45 years old, and Tony is a male. His salary is around 54,600. 54,600, maybe dot 50 kobo. And is Tony an elderly man? Maybe true or false. So from looking at this, you can see various data type at a single glance. I can see characters, I can see integer, I can see the floating number, which is a double, and I can see the Boolean type, which is a true. So we have covered all of these data type in previous videos, so you can always go back and follow that. So we have now in details a list of different items. So first thing I want us to see when it comes to list is to check. You can always look at what is the length of this list. So we can use the length function to see um, that if you are using the length of the list, you are checking how many items do I have in my list. And right now it's telling us that we have 5 items. You can see we have 5 items in our list. So what other thing can we do with the list being a collection? So you can access the items in the list. So one thing you should know that the items in the list are ordered and they are changeable as well. Yeah. So let's access the items in the list. If I want to see the item in index one, I can say details in index one. So it says Tony. So from this list, I can even do something interesting. Let me call this name is Tony. Then at the end of the day, I want to print out something. I can go ahead and say paste or cat. Let me use a paste. Paste. Um, my name is, or his name is, let's have name. So he's saying name not found. Oh yeah, okay, I didn't run this. So my name is Tony. You can see out of this entire list, we extracted the name and we're able to print it out. So just a quick hands-on for you. You can just try extracting the age, the salary, and maybe he's a true or a false. You can use our control structures from the previous videos to check all of this. So let's move forward. After accessing next, we can change values in the list, basically based on reassignment as well. So let's say we are changing um, from Tony to I want to change the person's name to maybe Thomas, for example. So this will change from Tony to Thomas. So whenever I call these details again, we should see details one. This is Thomas. So details one is returning Thomas. So we updated this list and changed the first item from Tony to Thomas. So of course we can manipulate and update it. So the next thing we want to check now is ability to check if something is existing. That's one of the things you use mostly to make your decisions or before you do a particular action. And like we know from the previous videos, we had something similar to this, and we talked about how important it is. So let's quickly check. Now that we have updated from Tony to Thomas, we could try and see um, Tony. Is Tony in our lists? And it says false. Why? At this point, it's updated from Tony to Thomas. So let's just be sure that our assertions are correct. So you can see it says true. So that means whenever we use the in, we are kind of, it's a detached or a minimal way of the control structure that just checks and returns a Boolean value. It's important you know what type of data you are interacting with per time. So I can use this to build a logic. Maybe if Thomas is not in that particular list, I will say Thomas not available or so. So the next thing we want to see is how we can add item to this particular list. So adding item to this particular list or list in R, we use the append method, just like Python. So maybe we want to add a new item to that particular list. Since we have a name, maybe we want to add a new item. Append should be a double P. So you can go ahead and do append method. What do you want to append to? Details, and what updated value do you want to add? Maybe it's Thomas, let's say stack or something. So automatically you can see stack is added to Thomas, and we now have 6 items, not actually 5 items. Let's confirm that and see what this returns for us. So this is bringing back the last this is bring back the last value in that particular item. But then uh, one of our videos that talk about for loop, we can always loop through this item. So I could do for item or detailed in details, either for item or for details in details. What do we want to do? Let's print. So it says item not found. Okay, I'm not using the whole for loop. So you can see the for loop is saying we have Thomas 45 mil true, and the last thing we appended was stack. So let's see why stack is not coming up yet. So let's just call this an updated list just to be sure we have the right syntax working. So for this in updated lists, let's see what we have. So updated list is returning list of six. Oh, okay. So details was storing 5 in the memory and it's not updating itself. So for item in updated lists, what do we want to do? Updated. We want to print items. So this should return a new list with stack. Perfect. So you can see we have a new list in memory and it has 6 items inside of it. So good. The next thing I want to talk about in lists data type is appending based on index. The last appending we used was a general append that appends to the last part of the list. But if you're appending based on index, you will call the append method as it is, the list you want to append to, and you call a particular, you pass a particular attribute called after. and you pass an index to it. An index is always an integer. So if I do this, append this particular list after index 3. So it will add a new item after this particular index. So, but then we are missing one thing. What are we missing? We are calling append the list, the position, but we are not including what we want to append. So when you are used to writing code, when you see a syntax that seems a bit off, you will definitely know even before you run it, because you have this feeling like this flow is not complete. So let me say I want to add Abuja. Let's say stack is in Abuja. So let me call this another list. Um, Another list we are pending that after index 3. So we are expecting that after 1, 2, 3, before the salary, we should see Abuja, hopefully. So I'll just pick up this for loop again and do a similar one here. But even before you do it, you can always check it here, another list. And yeah, we don't even need to do all of that. So you can see it from here because of time. It says a character, Thomas, this male, and then we have Abuja before salary, which is exactly what we want to see. So I'll just continue with the next thing I want to show you. Removing an item from the list. Of course, if you can append, we should be able to remove. If you want to remove an item from the list, it's as easy as calling your particular list. Let's call this another list as our particular list, and we are passing a -1 to it, and we want to store it as new, maybe list, for example. Just a couple of examples here and there. If you're coming from the background of Python, you need to be careful here. In Python, if you do this, it will return the last item. It gives you a negative indexing. But in R, it means a different thing entirely. So let's see what our new list looks like. You can see this is our new list without the particular item of the name. So whenever you pass a negative index in a list, it removes the first item in the list automatically. So please, you just need to pay attention to these things. It's just a matter of syntax here and there, but it's the same thing. So the next thing we want to see, I want this video to end in the next 2 minutes, so I'm moving a bit fast, is how to take a range from an index, or for some reason, you can call it slicing. Maybe you want to slice out a list. So I can say in this new list, I want to slice from item 2 to item 4 only. So let's see what this gives us. So you can see it will return, let's say, let me call it sliced. So if I check what sliced have in memory, you can see slice just contains from 2 to 4. So more like a filter. You want to filter or you want to slice through. So you can slice based on range on a new list. So one other thing I want to buttress before the end of this video is, again, accessing list items. You can always use for a default loop for something in another thing, or for something in your list. What do you want to do? You want to do something. So basically, that's what it is. You can just watch our video on the for loop, and same knowledge applies. So quickly, a recap where we started from list. We talked about list being a very important data type in a data structure in R, because it helps us to hold different data types and not necessarily anatomic. So, and we talked about different method in list. And one of the last thing that we can actually talk about is combining two lists together. If you want to join multiple lists together. When joining multiple lists together, the first thing that should come to your mind should be that, okay, a list coming together with a list is now anatomic, same type, a list of whatever it is, collection of characters, a mixture of things coming together in a container and coming together again in a single container. That makes it anatomic. So you can have a list of Let me call this a final list. Maybe after your sorting, you had a final, we normally have a final list for exams and all of these things. It will definitely be an atomic of maybe new. You have a new list. Let me see one of the list. Another list and new list. So let's have a new list and another list. So if I run this, I can see a final list, and a final list consists of all of these guys joined together. So, a recap: whenever you want to join more than one list, join it as an atomic because the lists are coming as same type, irrespective of what they contain inside of them. So, this brings us to the end of this particular video. And the next video we are going to be making is going to be matrices. Quite interesting. We are moving from a flat list to a two-dimensional kind of array. See you in the next video. Bye for now.